What's going on, people? Welcome to the Offside Chat podcast. It's your boy Nabert. I'm here with the one and only Naeem today. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm well, brother. A lot of good games over the weekend, and looking forward to chopping it up.
Yeah, definitely. If you obviously you noticed at home that we've got Captain Ed missing in action. He's on a stag do, so he will be back very soon. But listen, let's just crack on to the offside chat this week. And we've got to start with, to be fair, Spurs. When you looked at the fixture list, Spurs beaten Burnley in the first game. You're thinking, oh, going away to City, Chertsky, Haaland, Mamouche at the Etihad. Obviously, they had a fantastic win against Wolves, but they're at home to Spurs. You're thinking, oh, it's a tough game for Spurs. However, Naim, I must say that I don't know what it is. It's been a torrid couple of seasons for Spurs. Yes, the Europa League win, but in terms of the league, it hasn't been great.
Mm.
And they've just got something for City. They've just got something for City.
Mm.
It seems that they march to the Etihad fearless. And obviously, watching the game, I think City started very, very well. Very wasteful with chances. Obviously, Mamouche had two chances. Maybe the first one was a little bit difficult. Maybe he thought someone was going to come in. And then obviously the second one, which was a great pass through, being wasteful. And then Spurs hit them on the break with Charlison, great ball in, and Johnson with the goal. And I thought, is this happening again? 1-0 down already. I was thinking, home game, still, it's okay for them. And then as for Trafford, I
Sure.
mean, this is not the first time and it won't be the last time we've seen these suicide passes from, obviously it must be a coaching issue. It must be something that they're instructed to do because, you would think, I mean, who am I to suggest, but you would think it's quite simple in the game, isn't it? You can see your man being closed in. Why would you try to pass it there? But he did, intercepted, tried to go down, and then unlucky. Obviously, Palina came through, rattled it in, and it's
Mm.
2-0. And 2-0, you're thinking, this is quite difficult now. And then another chance. I think it was just shy from half time.
Yeah.
You had Haaland, who really, that's his bread and butter header, isn't it? If there's anyone in the league, you think, right, you know what, this is fantastic. 2-1. He misses, which is something that he would usually, a chance they usually gobble up. And you just thought, it's just not going to be their day. Going into halftime, you're probably thinking, right, they're going to really throw everything at them. But I thought Spurs handled themselves very well. So, I mean, another win. I mean, obviously, it's going to give them lots of confidence. They've had a rotten week in regards to transfers.
Mm.
But in terms of on the pitch, back-to-back wins, one at home against Burnley, which people will say they should be winning, which sometimes I think is unfair. And then you go away to City, who've dominated the Premier League in the last 10 years, and you get a win. So fair play to Spurs. What did you make of it?
I thought you summarised it really, really well. I think Spurs have a thing at City, don't they? I think, especially at the Etihad, bar the one game I think Arsenal wanted them to win, they generally win up there, right? Let's be fair, and they played pretty well. I think first things first, back-to-back clean sheets for Spurs. We don't really say that much.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Um, And you know what? I hate to say all credit to Spurs. I thought, to your point, City started well. Mamouche needed to take one of those two chances. And
Yeah,
then you saw
especially the
Spurs.
second,
Sorry?
especially the second one.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think especially the second one. And I think Spurs played them on the break pretty well. I mean, they're missing Madison. They're missing Kulusevski. If you think about like some of their top attacking players, brilliant. Johnson's at 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
He scored last week as well. Yeah, good ball by Richarlison. And you know what? When they went 2-0 up at halftime and Haaland missed a chance afterwards, you had a feeling that maybe this wasn't going to be City's day.
Mm.
One thing with City, though, I think after one game against Wolves, obviously they played pretty well and everything in that respect. I'll give credit, the whole thing, I'm going to give credit to Thomas Frank. He's obviously come in very highly regarded. He's done very, but he's maybe with technically a better set of players. I think the three competitive games he's played, he's set his teams up slightly different. And I think that's a credit to him. Obviously, the players are buying into it. So, yeah, I was impressed with Spurs. I think I expected much more from City second half.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit of huff and puff. Spurs look relatively comfortable. And yeah, no, I give credit to them. I think I think is it Thomas Frank said the second manager to beat to win there with two different clubs. And the other
Oh,
one's Conte. I saw a really interesting article there. So it'd be interesting to see how City bounce back to this because everyone was talking about their rebuild, same issues going at the back. Without Rodri, they look very. I'm not sure that Nico Gonzalez whatsoever. Um, they seem to be very easy to play. If you're most teams, you just watch what Spurs do, be compact and just play on the break.
mm-hmm.
And most teams do have a lot of pace up top. So defensively, I worry about City. Trafford as a keeper, I mean, they're already looking at Donnarumma, which says a lot about what they think about Trafford because Edison looks on his way. So I'm going to give credit to Spurs. Great away win. City's first game at home, game of the season. And yeah, credit to Spurs. 2 games, 2 clean sheets.
Yeah, no, definitely. And you did mention obviously Donnarumma. I think it's an interesting one. I do believe that Trafford is someone. Well, listen, look, they paid the money for
Very
Trafford.
highly regarded, isn't he, Trafford? They're
Yeah,
saying
very highly rated. But there's sometimes that certain players become available, and it's just a market opportunity that
Can
you
I ask
can't
you?
really turn
Yeah,
down.
but
I
one
think
thing with
because of what's
Donnarumma
pardon.
is sorry to interrupt you, bro. Is that one thing with Donnarumma is he hasn't got one thing they got rid of Joe Hart was because he couldn't play with the ball at his
Yeah,
feet. I don't think Donnarumma's that great from what I can recollect from what I've watched. I haven't watched enough of him to be fair, but he doesn't seem to be. That's what Trafford was bought for. Allegedly, he's be able to distribution as well.
I kind of
So
think it's just because they'll be looking at the Edison situation.
hmm,
And there's no harm having two of these keepers,
no,
but I do
100%.
think it's probably. I think they probably need each other a lot in terms of this transfer. I think
Hmm.
Donnarumma was being short-sighted with this. I don't think it's clear from his age, and I don't think he expected to be sold. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a market opportunity there,
Yeah, I think
but
so.
we'll see. We'll definitely see. We move on to the Emirates
Hmm.
for the Gyokeres debut at the Emirates in the Premier League. Away game at Manchester United, Arsenal winning 1-0. Calafiori, everybody was sniping, saying, he looks a bit sluggish. I just told people to just listen, just relax and calm down because for me, I thought, and I did say that I thought Arsenal had the most difficult out of certain teams, the most difficult opening day. Everybody knows the history between Arsenal and Manchester United. It's no secret. Manchester United are coming off the back of one of the worst seasons, but in the summer they've spent 200 million. As I said, in Bremo, you've got Cunha, Sesko. So you're probably going to think it can't be as bad as last season. And everybody knows once it's the opening day, you've been waiting all summer for football. I thought this is a horrible, horrible game for Arsenal. But listen, it was a horrible game, but they came out with the win. Gyökeres didn't look great, but I thought for him and even Zubamendi, that was a real baptism of fire to go away to Old Trafford. However, I was very, very, very intrigued to look at the home game against Leeds because I'm not gonna lie, I was not worried about it, and maybe that's down to me that listen. Being an Arsenal supporter, you've got to ignore the hate and the noise because sometimes it does get the better of Arsenal supporters. And I kind of saw the memes coming through and how many times he's flicking his hair and stuff. But this is why I'm so happy. And everyone's going to say, oh, it's only against Leeds. But if he didn't score against Leeds, it would be, oh, he hasn't scored against Leeds. But one thing I like about Victor Gyökeres, yes, um, he's not graceful. No. I mean, if you look at the other Arsenal strikers over the years, he's not silky. He's quick, very strong, likes to tussle, likes to bully. But it's his mentality that I like because he's probably thinking 2 seasons at Sporting Lisbon, one of the most dangerous strikers in Europe for the last 2 seasons. It's 97 in 102, something like that. So listen, he's been on cloud 9, and then he comes to the Premier League, comes to Arsenal. He's probably looking at the social media, very different in Portugal, probably praising all the way. Look at social media, people making memes, people thinking, come on, he does read that. And if you wasn't or you didn't believe that the players do, a lot of them do see what's on social media. I'll tell you about the second goal, but because of the hair flicking.
Hmm.
But I mean, it was a good game for Arsenal. Fantastic save by Raya, and then Arsenal, took control of the game. Obviously, fantastic 2 goals as well for Timber. Good header, great delivery from Declan Rice again, just to calm everyone down. The second goal was sublime from Saka,
Hmm.
quickly about his injury. And then look, fresh of the second half, you're probably thinking, oh, the missed chance. How can I forget? Because that was a big chance. And and I was actually out at that time. And what made me laugh is just looking at updates and Sky Sports would say, oh, it's a big chance. It's a big. And I can imagine the Gyokeres, the hate word, thinking, oh my God, how did he miss that? Even Arteta put his head in his hand. But it's the mentality that I love about Victor, because the second half, 48 minutes, ball over the top, onto the left. You're thinking, right, I've seen this situation on YouTube a lot, because I've watched a lot of these goals coming off from the left. Listen, defending wasn't great, but look, it was a huge moment. I think Gary Neville summarised it very well. Big moment, because, as you know, strike is about confidence. It's so important. No matter how good you are of a finisher, if your confidence is gone, it's a problem. And for him to score the goal, you could just see a weight lifted off his shoulders. And then, look, the game continued, and then he got his penalty. So that's 2-2 for him. And I think it was very, very important. Look, huge, big moment for him. Hopefully he can just continue and grow from this. But especially, I'll let you come in, as I was saying, after the penalty, great penalty, by the way, as well. It was just a celebration of the flicking hair. And I just thought, you know what, Victor, I like it, because I want my striker to have something about him. So he's obviously clearly thinking, you guys are really trying to mock me, like flick my hair, take that, double, 2-2, two goals on my debut on the Premier League at the Emirates. What more can you ask for? What were your thoughts? We won't regurgitate the salacious things that you have said over the summer, but I'm sure you were cheering, Naeem. I'm very sure.
Look, firstly, big, important for Arsenal. I mean, this is, all due respect to Leeds, this is what you should be doing to a promoted team at home, right?
Here we go.
With all due respect, no. Let's be fair. I mean, if you're going to win the champ as a title challengers, Arsenal are. Okay. Especially with the. To be fair, and we'll talk about signings, and we'll talk about obviously Eze in a bit, but credit to I think your point made a good point with Raya's save. I think it was a bit nervous Arsenal with the first half. Goal came at the right time. Beautiful finish by Saka. We will talk his injury, I think, after quickly about the game summary, because both himself and Odegaard went off, didn't they? Which, looking at the current news, doesn't seem to be long term, especially on Saka. He's looking at 2 to 4 weeks, they're saying. So I think that's relatively positive considering the news we've been hearing about injuries. We'll talk Gyrokeres.
So the 9, because we've kind of veered off. I mean, we were talking about Gyrokeres. He scored 2 goals on his home Premier League game.
Yeah. And
that's an Arsenal supporter. Why are we talking about Eza? We'll talk about after. Please, sir, answer the question.
About Gyrokeres. I mean,
that's what we're talking about.
I think it was very important for him to score. First home game, go off the mark. I think he's there. One of the things he's there to do is make sure, especially against certain teams, level of teams, he scores goals, right? He did play, and this isn't my quote. This is a quote from a very good friend of mine who's a Leeds fan, quoting, he's seen Gyrokeres score in the Championship already, and, referring to Leeds. So I would like to see a bit more, but end of the day, you know what? He scored twice. I can't argue. I do like his mentality. I'm going to give you that. He doesn't care about, he obviously reads about what's happening in the press. They're questioning him already. And I do like he's got a really strong mentality. I think that's going to keep him in really good stead. He'll get chances at Arsenal, right? Even the chance he missed, it was just a reaction thing, wasn't it? I mean, if he had scuffed it a bit more, he could have scored. So let's not go too much of it. I do think
on the debut.
Yeah, he could have easily. I think one thing, and I said this last week, and I'll just stick by it, is I still think he's getting fitness because he hasn't had that much for pre-season. Certain players take a bit longer here or there, so I do think we're going to see more from him. Really interested to see him at Liverpool, because Liverpool, and we won't talk about the game, but there's a lot of space there, Liverpool, especially at Anfield, right? So very interested to see how he plays there, because there'll be a lot of space.
I think you're right as well. And I think, look, out of the 3 Premier League games, away to Old Trafford and then away at Anfield is not easy. Not many players just turn up there and start scoring.
I think the goals, especially that first goal, will help him massively, because that space in between, he's going to get that at Anfield. I'm sure he will. It's just getting the chance, getting the ball to him.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll definitely see about that. You did obviously touch on the injuries, obviously
Mm,
worrying. You see Saka. You saw it seemed like he was whispering that it was cramp, and then we find out that it's his other hamstring.
mm.
Thank you for that. And it between you said 2 to 4 weeks.
That's
So
what they're saying, and international break we've got as well
it's
coming up. So I think that's a saving grace.
and that's a shame because we know Saka against Liverpool, he's the sort of player you do
Mm,
want. He does turn up against Liverpool, so that is slightly disappointing. And Odegaard as well with the shoulder, but I don't think he could.
not
He could obviously still make the game. It doesn't look like it's anything too serious. However, we can talk about the game, but we have to talk about Eza, Eberici Eza. Eze to some people, but let's pronounce it as it's supposed to be pronounced. I could be called up or pulled up about it after, but Eze returns home to Arsenal. Now, look, I don't want to make non-Arsenal fans, you know what I mean, vomit in their mouth or think, right, is it time to fast forward this? But it is an amazing signing for Arsenal Football Club, and more importantly, an amazing signing for him
mm,
because I've been at Arsenal sport all my life. It doesn't happen many times that they bring the players out before. I think it's something that has to happen from now on. But there's not many Arsenal fans that their heart is not warmed by this signing.
mm,
What I mean by that, and look, other supporters could obviously relate to this because when you get a player who is actually supports your club and generally wants to play for your club, maybe turns down a club, could be your city rivals or what have you. There's just something very hard about that. Now, I know with the Gyokeres, nobody's saying that people should be going on strike, but one thing I was impressed with is maybe there's other strikers out there that are technically better than him, but it was his desire
mm.
to come. He could have gone to Man United with Amarin. He had it was there. It was there on the play. A lot of United supporters would pretend like they preferred Sesko over him, but that was their number one choice. And look, he politely said, "Look, Arsenal's our only option." And when you get a player, regardless of who you support, committing to your club like that, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic feeling, and you just think, you know what, this is who you want at
Mm.
your club. I thought that would be it this summer because obviously Gyrokeres was very, very determined. But what I've seen from Eza and the reports, I mean, the boyhood club, he get released heartbroken and still in the back of his mind, he's always wanting to return home. Some people turn bitter and think, look, you release me, I've got no interest that I would
Mm.
never come back. I'm going to show you. But even when he did show that he has made a professional football player, QPR, phenomenal at Crystal Palace, achieving things that not many Crystal Palace players have or will do. And, talks in the early window. He made his mind up very early. I want Arsenal. It went cold again. The injury happened. But I don't know if you know about the story, but to call Mikel Arteta yourself and say, look, is there any chance that you will sign me? We now understand what's going on with Tottenham Hotspur, agreed fee, agreed terms, or what have you. But is there any chance you can sign me or you can come in for me? And for Mikel to say, look, it's so funny that you've said that because we've got a board meeting with
Mm.
Josh Kroenke. When you just actually think the timing is just perfect. This is why it's more than a sign. It's not just, oh yeah, the bid was put in. It's the effort that he's gone to that. And just to say, it's so perfect you called me because we're going to go into a meeting now and the deal was done. Apparently, no more conversation with Spurs. I only want Arsenal.
Mm.
He comes back. I think, look, for any Arsenal supporter, when you heard the news from Fabrizio and David Ornstein, I just couldn't believe it. I was coming back from football myself, and I was like, "Hold on, what is going on?" You had to read it 12 times because
Mm.
I'm not going to get excited. And he comes down and signs, obviously, the video of Ian Wright moving to Arsenal at the same age, 27 years as well, though. Like,
See.
it's it was lovely, man. The little press shots, and obviously the introduction video. But to bring him out and then to play the Sanford track, let it all work. I mean, yeah. And he's turning up looking at God. Thank you, God. Listen, amazing. I'm not going to ramble on anymore, but
Mm.
what a player, though. we always question, we need something more. We do need something on the left, and we do need somebody that can help our older guard, that create chances. And we've literally got one of the most talented players in the Premier League who, you know, I'm just so excited to have, someone that can play in the 10 and play off the left as well. And to have it, I think it's, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm usually not lost for words, but this one, I'm so happy. There's so many different elements. You turn down Spurs, it's your dream club, you're fighting to come here. So, over the moon. It's someone that you've always liked.
I'm a fan. I've always been a fan.
Yeah. What's your
I mean, it's a beautiful first thing. I think it's a whole beautiful story and arc. And if you listen to his interviews with it, I think the first thing I'll say about it, Arsenal fans are quite decisive and can be a bit emotive, etc. As we know, as a general, excluding ourselves, of course. But one thing I'd say is one of the first signings that I've not seen any sort of. Rarely we spent that much on him, but he's 27. There's been no negatives because I think this guy. Unfortunately, I've watched a few Palace games. I've seen him live, and I think the levels he's going to give Arsenal, because he's something that Arsenal are missing for me. It'd be left side or playing from the 10. I think he must really play the left side majority of the season when Odegaard is fit realistically. But I think he's a superstar. I think what I loved about it, if you watch it was beautiful him walking out. You could see the joy in his face, even when he was signing the contract, when he picked up his shirt, I saw all of that. You could see, I've never seen someone so happy to sign for somewhere. And it was quite heartwarming. The announcement video they did with Ian Wright, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was beautifully done. The music, the way they did it, and the way he came out. I mean, him saying that he got released at 7, and the first thing he did was a prayer. And I did like that.
7 is 13, I think it was.
Was it 13? Because he said it was 20 years later he's returned, I think. But he was, I think it's, I apologize. Yeah, so he was 13. He was quite young when he got released from us.
Yeah.
But I think he said his mum made a prayer, isn't it? Said, we'll, for this to be reversed. And he's got this, it's a full circle. And he's come back as it is. So I think it's a beautiful story. I've been reading up on some bits that he's doing additional training. He's already been put on free kicks, which is completely understandable. Let's be real, right? I mean, Arsenal signed a superstar, and I think if you're in the title race, I think he will make a difference that Arsenal didn't have, because he's got that X factor, knows the league, Arsenal fan, bred in South London, all the best footballers are, as you know, and obviously, I think it's a beautiful arc. I'm looking forward to seeing him win at Arsenal, because I think he will. It's a great sign.
I think it's going to be exciting now in terms of what he can add to it now. Like I said at the beginning of the window, Madueke signing, with having Eze there as well, I think it kind of
it's a transition, isn't it?
He signed, because you kind of think, oh, that's a bit dangerous. And obviously Saka's injury, Madueke could do both flanks as well. But having potentially Eze now on the left or in the 10 in the older,
massively.
The thing is, you got to think, Odegaard's a very, very important player for Arsenal. But if he was to be injured and you said, what other number 10 would I like in the Premier League that can replace Odegaard? Or you'll be happy to be like, right, put him in. He's going to be top of your list. He's going to be the top 2, top 3, isn't it, as 10s? So it just makes that game a lot more comfortable. It's going to be a very difficult game against Liverpool. But you do think, wow, before, if Odegaard was out, you'd probably thinking there's no creativity, that's it, he's the heartbeat of the team. Now you're excited to give Eze the ball. And you're probably going to have 2 of the best ball winners and people who are going to get the ball to you. You're going to have Zubimendi and Rice. They'll win the ball and they'll get that to you. And you just think, give him the ball.
There's 2 winners out this signing as well for me. Gyokeres, we discussed him earlier, because one thing watching Eze with Mateta, he'll find the pass. He's got that through ball. Saka will win as well, because now you're going to think, I can't double team Saka because we've got Eze over there. It's a shame Saka's not fit for this weekend against Liverpool, because I'd love to see let's see those 2 again, because
we've got all season 9. I know what you mean, but it's something to look forward to, because
looking forward to it. I fancy Eze. You never know. He does always well. Does well at Anfield as well, Eze. So
So let's go wait and see. But all right, well, cool. Listen, I want you guys, thank you for tuning in. I want you to like, subscribe, and we will see you again for more Offside Chat. Take care.